Hey everyone, and welcome to this explainer. Today, we are getting into the absolutely incredible mechanics of flight. I mean, we've all seen those massive commercial jets just seamlessly cruising above the clouds, right? But today, we're going to map out the exact real-time interplay of physics that actually makes that magic happen.
Okay, let's dive right into this, because every single time an airplane is up there in the air, there is this complex, invisible tug-of-war happening. The whole story is governed by four invisible forces: thrust, lift, drag, and weight. These aren't just dry scientific terms. They're literally the four main characters in a continuous physical drama that dictates whether that plane stays up in the sky or, well, returns to the ground.
To really grasp how this all works, we're going to trace a flight chronologically. We'll hit the four forces of flight, then thrust on the runway, lift and the airfoil, defeating weight, and finally, drag in the airborne battle. Starting off with Section 1, the four forces of flight. You know, flight isn't just floating. It's actually this intense, active physical struggle. Every second that a massive, heavy metal aircraft is suspended up there, it's pulling off a highly delicate, continuous balancing act of thrust, lift, drag, and weight. It's like a giant puzzle, and if that dynamic equilibrium wavers even a little bit, sustained flight just doesn't happen. Moving to Section 2, thrust, the runway rush. Picture this. The airplane is sitting completely still at the end of the runway. To kick off this incredible chain reaction of flight, we need energy. A lot of it. The engines spool up, that hum turns into an absolute roar, and the aircraft rapidly accelerates. That is thrust, the forward force generated by those powerful engines pushing the airplane at ridiculously high speeds down the runway. Without this massive forward push to get things going, the aerodynamic forces literally can't wake up to do their jobs. Next up, Section 3, lift and the airfoil. Now, what's really interesting here is what happens as thrust propels the aircraft faster and faster. The rushing air starts doing something beautiful. We shift from that brute force rush on the runway into, honestly, graceful, soaring physics. Check out the airfoil. That's the specially curved design of the airplane's wings. This specific shape, rounded at the front, thicker in the middle, and then tapering off at the back, is the absolute secret to defying gravity.
Let's walk through exactly how this happens chronologically. As the plane accelerates, air rushes rapidly over and under the wing. But because of that unique curved shape we just talked about, the air traveling over the top is actually forced to move faster than the air passing underneath. This speed difference creates a distinct pressure difference. You get lower pressure on top and higher pressure on the bottom. And then, this is the best part, that higher pressure beneath naturally seeks to push up toward the lower pressure, generating a powerful upward force. And there it is. Lift. Our source material sums up this mechanical reality perfectly. This speed difference creates lower air pressure on top and higher air pressure below, generating an upward force called lift. It's just fascinating. Lift isn't magic, right? It is instantly birthed from this calculated pressure difference, caused directly by the wings slicing through the air. Which brings us to Section 4, defeating the aircraft's weight. Now, generating lift is really only half the battle. This is where we meet the first natural villain of our story, weight. It's a direct showdown. On one side, you have lift pushing up. On the opposing side, you have weight, the unyielding downward pull of gravity on the airplane. For the plane to be anything other than just a really fast, really expensive car on a runway, it has to engage in this real-time invisible arm wrestle. For the aircraft to actually rise, lift absolutely must become stronger than gravity. The exact moment that upward force mathematically overpowers the downward pull of the plane's own weight, it leaves the ground. Seriously, the next time you're on a flight, hurtling down the runway, and you suddenly feel yourself getting pushed deep back into your seat, you are literally feeling the exact moment lift successfully defeats gravity. Finally, Section 5, drag, the airborne battle. Okay, so the plane leaves the ground, but the struggle doesn't stop. Once airborne, the airplane meets our second natural enemy, which is drag. This is the natural air resistance that continuously tries to slow the airplane down. I mean, imagine a massive airliner moving at hundreds of miles per hour. Drag is acting like an ever-present physical wall of air, just trying to rob the plane of its momentum. And this brilliantly illustrates our second major conflict up in the sky, thrust versus drag. The forward push from the engines is locked in a relentless, continuous fight against the air resistance trying to hold it back. Just like lift has to defeat weight, thrust has to constantly, continuously combat drag.
Because of this airborne battle, the engines must continuously produce thrust to maintain those flying speeds. They can't just take a break. This is exactly why the pilots can't just turn the engines off once the plane reaches cruising altitude. If thrust drops, drag instantly starts winning. The plane slows down. And remember what we learned earlier? If the plane slows down, the air over the wings slows down, which means lift decreases, and suddenly weight starts to win. The whole shebang is totally interconnected.
So what does this all mean? Flight is a continuous, incredibly delicate balance of four forces. Thrust has to balance drag, and lift has to balance weight. So I want to leave you with this provocative question to think about the next time you look up and see a plane soaring overhead. If just one of those forces wavers, who wins the battle? It really gives you a profound appreciation for the miraculous, non-stop physical struggle keeping us safely in the air. Thanks so much for joining me for this explainer, and I hope you never look at flying quite the same way again.